Welcome to another edition of Canucks Cover. Wait a second. Who's this guy? This is weird, right? This is a little bit weird. Kind of you and me. There's no one else, just you and me. Just you and me. I think we're gonna get by.
Yeah, it's a little weird. Presented by the great folks at Zephyr Epic. You missed that part.
Whoa. We can't be cross promoting. My card guy is gonna get mad. So, and we're doing the flooring in his house, so we definitely can't be promoting someone else. So it's a touchy subject. Welcome to the PP1 podcast. I'm Ryan. I'm flying solo as far as our crew goes. Ted's got some stuff going on. He's got family in town from way beyond. Brady is unable to make it, but I managed to find a guy that I've broken bread with, shared some pierogies over a nice summer day. I think that was a lot of fun whenever we did that. When was that? Like a year ago? I feel like,
I feel like that was when COVID kind of just slowed down a little bit.
Yeah,
it slowed down a little bit, and things were starting to get good, and came over to Kelowna, and we had some good beers and good pierogies. I ended up sending a picture of that pierogi restaurant to Cole Lind, and he was like, "No effing way." That's what he replied.
Yeah, I got to get back there. I mean, I got tomorrow off, but I don't know if I'm gonna have time to go. PP1 podcast, proudly presented on the Dean Blundell Network. We are partnered with, oh shoot, did I do something wrong there? There we go. Proudly presented and partnered with Summer Skates. Faber, you clearly saw our little contest with Summer Skates. You saw the black ones that won. Are you going to get a pair because you're such a good friend?
I like the white ones. I voted white. I like the white ones. I think they were better. But apparently white, and I've learned this from previously having white flip-flops.
Yeah.
They're probably not the best pair of flip-flops to get. If you're at the beach, if you're getting dirty, if you're spilling drinks on them, I think you got to go with black. And I need a pair of flip-flops. My girlfriend tells me that my white ones look like they're starting to turn black because I've had them for a couple of years here. So maybe it is time for a new pair of summer skates.
So I have the white ones. They gave us a few pairs to obviously test out, make sure that everybody wants to get them. I just washed mine. I hadn't washed them since I got them, and I've had them for about a month. Been camping in them, been in the lake, at the pool, getting dirt on them. I've cut the grass in them, just filthy. Chucked them in the wash, brand spanking new. I guess that's
in the wash.
Yeah, in the washer machine, and then you just air dry, good to go. It's like I just got them. Just saying. My kid has the black one.
I guess the weather lately has been a good time for you to air dry them.
Yeah. It took about 10 minutes. So, it's but maybe we can make something work for you on the white ones. We'll see what we can do. We've got our 100th episode coming up in a couple weeks. I'm very excited for that. We have tons of prizes. And we just partnered with these guys. We've been testing these things out for a little bit. Manta Sleep, you guys probably saw me tweet these things out. So they're sleep masks. Now, I'm not full-time blogging anymore, but I'm still doing this, editing late night, 1 a.m. These things are beyond soft. They are like little pillows for your eyes. I'm going to put them on so everybody knows how awesome these things look. Let's check this out. There we go. Can't see a thing. Total blackout. So we're giving a pair of these away for our 100th episode. We've got our own special link that you can go check these things out. Grab a pair. Our whole family wears these. Both my kids will swear by them. My oldest daughter, she left hers at her grandma's last night, had an awful sleep. So a lot of people like sleep masks. I don't know if you wear a sleep mask. Do you wear a sleep mask, Faber? Do you maybe sometimes?
I do from time to time. That one looks a little bit more. That's kind of the one that I need because a lot of mine I get problems with in the nose. That's where where the light comes in. It comes in on the outside. Those things are no joke. Oh, they come out too. You can wash them probably.
Customizable. So I got the aroma one. So there's lavender in there. Nice. You want to fall asleep. There's a cool one. So it's more of like a kind of like an icy kind of feel. There's a weighted one. So if you need like a really heavy like cup to kind of sit, but it totally blacks out everything. Like it could be middle of the day and you can be out cold. So for all those people, like you were working shift work, right? You're working, the late shift at the mill and everything. So you're sleeping during the day. I had, when was it? A few months back. I had like a headache or something. I need to just kind of lay down in the afternoon. put those things on late on the bed. I thought it was already like 6 o'clock at night. Pretty awesome stuff.
That's pretty good. And I think lavender is a scent that keeps spiders away. So I feel like that's like an added bonus in there.
That would explain a lot because I don't have any spiders beside my bed. So I'm just going to flash this up. So there's Manta Slate, 100% blackout, no pressure on your eyes. We'll send a link afterwards. We also have partnered with Beyond the Green. So for all those golfers out there, I've got a wicked price pack. I'm looking at it right now. I'm not sure how much we're going to include because, we should be able to take care of the boys at the shop here, right? We want to make sure that they're taken care of, but we got some really cool stuff. A lot of Travis Matthew branded stuff. There's Beyond the Green. I like all these banners. They're just clicking away here, just tapping away. And of course, we're going to be giving away a pair of summer skates now that we've awarded the winner the black ones. So those are going to be given away. I even got a hat. You guys probably saw me posting a hat, kind of the combo. We did some kind of like golf looking hats for both of our logos. They've gone over really well. I have one left. I have a white one with our Shield logo left. So by all means, if you want it, hit me up. $25 in shipping. You're good to go. I can always get more made. But yeah, we're down to one. And for once in my life, things are going pretty well on the marketing side. So things are going pretty well. But other than that, we're here to talk about hockey. It's a hockey podcast. Faber, the Stanley Cup was awarded last night by the rightful team, the Tampa Bay Lightning. It wasn't that great of a series. Wasn't really that great of a game. But the after party, the press conferences, that's when the game really shone. Would you agree?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really see that coming from Kucherov, but he definitely lit up. Probably got a lot of Montreal Canadiens fans pretty pissed off at him. I mean, that quote about, last series was their final, that's like a legendary quote. And to see him, I don't know, did you see the other video of him with the Bud Light? Drinks it, crushes it, slides it away, comes back with 2 more. Like, oh man, I wonder if Kucherov's still drunk right now.
He was a monster. And then when he went on the little rant about Vasilevsky and Fleury there, number 1 bullshit or something like that, like that's going to be a t-shirt. They're going to be flooding the market with that.
I love how he even like when he was talking about Fleury, he's just like, the other guy in Vegas. Like it's like it's Marc-Andre Fleury. Literally doesn't even know the dude's name.
Dude's got Stanley Cups, and you're actually just absolutely trolling him. Like that was definitely one of the all-time hockey interviews. I think because he showed more emotion than pucks and deep, team game, all that kind of stuff. He was real. And yeah, and I've talked to a bunch of people today. It rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. At the same time, you know what? We need this from time to time. And hockey is kind of a stale personality as a whole. And somebody finally said something that caught everyone's ear. And it finally made us all pay attention. And it gave hockey some life. And you might not like it, but it grows the game. It's that little tidbit that keeps things going. And then you get a few guys like you see Jeremy Roenick. Like he was a great guy. Patrick Roy was great at it as well. These are the new guys. They're finally learning that they can win. And you know what? Yeah, we float something in every now and then. And I mean, you win the Stanley Cup, we're going to give you a bit of a free pass. I think.
Yeah, I mean, like I think of it a lot of from the show. Pardon the interruption, like PTI. I'm not sure if you're a huge fan of that, but
yeah,
this is the type of hockey moment that would show up on PTI 10 years ago. And I think recently, because of all those moments building up, now you actually get to see hockey consistently on a show like PTI that's in the United States, is one of the biggest talk shows on television for sports. And, it took moments like this to get hockey on the map. And yeah, it's going to rub some people the wrong way, and people that are traditional hockey fans probably don't like it. Heck, if you live in Montreal, you definitely hate this. But this is something that does help grow the game when guys. It's weird to say because like he went out there, he was drunk, and he kind of trashed like a fan base and another goaltender. But it still worked for them. Like it gave hockey a lot more promotion. That's something that they really need. And I agree with you. It's great for these guys to show a little bit of personality. And this dude just won the Stanley Cup. I feel like he gets kind of like the free pass to say whatever he wants after that.
Absolutely. It's the end of the season. That's it. You finished on top, and you're allowed to say the odd thing. And we've heard, we've heard it on the other side, I guess. Remember when they talked to was it Adam Burish? And then they talked to Pronger after, and can't wait to see him. He goes, what, in the AHL? Like,
yeah.
Like you call your moment and you better get it right. And I think it worked out. I doubt Montreal is going to take it, too much offense. The fan base probably will. The team's probably like, yeah, they won. And I mean, if you're a hockey fan, you should have laughed at that. I thought it was hilarious. It kept everybody talking. There's going to be a few good videos out of that. They're going to get some good runtime with it. All for good. I don't think it's a big deal in the grand scheme of hockey as a whole.
Yeah, it'll ruffle from some feathers, and I mean, sometimes hockey needs that. Sometimes, it's just such a clean game all the time, and off the ice, it's not really a clean game on the ice, but off the ice, it's probably the cleanest sport that you'll see. From the way that athletes react with people, react with media, talk about other players in the league. It's every single time you see a press conference is, they got a good team over there. You're going to hear that from every single player. That's a great team over there. That's the first thing they'll say in every press conference. You look at some of the stuff in the NBA and the NFL and these sports that, really know how to grow an audience, and they're doing this consistently. So this is a good thing for hockey, I think, in the end. And I don't think he crossed the line.
No,
but it's just different to see a guy out there drinking beers and talking crap. Like it's something that we don't see often. So when it is out there, it shocks a lot of people.
And then you see everyone says this. You probably saw the tweet last night. This is what class looks like. Carey Price shaking the referee's hands. I mean, he's a classy guy anyway. There is that part of hockey as well. It's not that Tampa Bay is classless, let's say. They had John Cooper's interview after, and they talked about what he's going to remember and, what part he played. He goes, I just stood on the bench chewing gum. Like, again, another beauty quote. But at the end of the day, he's the coach. Yeah, he's got to kind of wrangle everything. But the guys on the ice decide it. And he let his superstars decide that game, and they did. They in deciding fashion, obviously. So it's good for the game, and obviously Big Rig gets his third in a row, which maybe he should try to find a way to get to Vancouver somehow. Didn't work out in Edmonton, maybe in Vancouver.
Yeah, how many years do you have to go before you get a big deal? Like, how many cups in a row do you have to win before someone's like, you know what, maybe we'll give you $4 million to come here. You seem to be a pretty good luck charm. I wonder if he's at that point yet.
He's not necessarily a clutch player, but remember, I don't know how good your basketball knowledge is, but remember Robert Horry, Big Shot Bob? He was slaying it. He did it for the Lakers.
I wouldn't know this one.
He did it for the Lakers. He did it for the Spurs. That guy was beyond clutch, and he's got tons of rings to show for it. Now, he was hitting clutch shots, but Patrick Maroon seems to be a clutch player as a whole. He seems to be that glue guy that just fits. He's the fix, right? He's that one guy that just makes sense on the team that works. He worked in, St. Louis, obviously twice in Tampa. So at that point, he probably isn't going anywhere. And he'll probably lock in a nice little deal for himself.
Yeah, I think the guy that I think of from basketball is PJ Tucker. Is that his name? He's been to I think 4 or 5 semifinals in a row. He's always kind of just there. Doesn't make a huge difference. Kind of like Patty Maroon, but he's always there. He seems to always get on the right teams to get there, and that's what it's been like for Maroon for the past couple of years, anyway.
It'd be kind of nice to be him. It'd be kind of nice to be a few of these guys. Did you see the posting for the Canucks NFT kind of director or whatever it was? Do you see that the other day on Twitter?
Was it the content director or something like that?
Yeah, it was NFT and content director. Did you see that? So I made a joke.
I did happen to hear about that. I didn't see it, so I was still on vacation.
Okay. So I made a joke about, I don't know, 2.5 months ago. I think we were trying to figure out a way to get rid of Louis Eriksson or Sutter or something like that. I think it was before the trade deadline. And I thought, wouldn't it be hilarious if the Canucks were able to turn Louis' contract into an NFT, actually make some money on it, and get rid of him somehow? And now this comes up the other day, and I thought, I'm a genius. I actually knew what was going on before everybody else. So you're the first guy that I've brought this up to. So what are your thoughts? Maybe the Canucks can figure out a way to NFT some contracts.
Well, first of all, I just fixed my Wi-Fi, so I don't think I'll be lagging as far behind, because I feel like the first 15 minutes I was lagging a little bit there. But your mouth is moving to the words that you're saying now, so I feel a lot better about that. But I just missed the last 30 seconds of what you said there. But
okay, so I made the joke about the NFTs a few months ago, right before the trade deadline, and I thought, why not turn like some anchor contracts into NFTs and actually make some money on them? So now that the Canucks have posted this, I feel like I was ahead of the curve on this, and now they're posting this job. How smart am I looking right now?
I mean, pretty smart. I actually remember when you did say that on the podcast. Yeah, that felt like about a month ago, if I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Yeah, way ahead of the curve. We need you back at Canucks Army with those kind of takes. But I mean, yeah, it's gonna be interesting because like when you have a market like this and you have like a following in a Twitter group like this, there's a lot of different directions they could actually go with this job that would be kind of cool and interesting. I mean, there's a lot of people in this market that are very talented. You see it with like mock-ups of jerseys and everything, but it's going to be interesting to see what the person who takes that role is, because they really have like a huge support, but they also have a lot of pressure for that role because you have to please a fan base that's very demanding and very vocal. So it'll be interesting to see how that falls through. But maybe Louis Eriksson could be that guy and do the Roberto Luongo trick and just get off the salary cap for him.
Wouldn't that be something? At the same time, that job becomes available and they start posting content that you can actually buy as an NFT. There's going to be absolute wars just about what they're actually producing. Like, I can't believe they made the Brad Marchand punch into an NFT and blah, blah, blah. Like, there's going to be so many of these moments, and we're just going to be scratching our head because we always need to complain about something.
Oh, well, I mean, that's Vancouver. I've heard that before. It's just the weather's too nice here that we have to complain about the hockey team. We're never going to have a good hockey team. I think that's our friends over at Pucks on Net saying, is the city's too nice for us to have a good hockey team as well. So, yeah, no matter what they put out there, it's going to be fun. But, yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. I think that they have such a big opportunity, like, especially with, like, Utica coming in, with Utica coming into Abbotsford and, having a full, like, setup from them. I was kind of curious to see that they pushed back that Friday deadline, and they were going to drop the logo and the team name and everything. It's just going to be cool because they're going to have such an open canvas to do whatever they want with that AHL team that I'm kind of happy that they're taking a little bit of time, but I'd love to see them just go like a direction that we wouldn't expect with a role like the director of content or whatever that one is, and just kind of see what they do with it, because there's so much opportunity for them to have a lot of fun. But unfortunately, I don't know if they're going to go that way. It's just, the way they've done things in the past have been a little bit boring and not wanting to spend a little bit of money. So we'll see what happens anyways. I'm still hopeful that something cool will come out of it.
It's interesting because when I was, right before I left to come to the Lower Mainland, and then once we finally did come and we were running back in my Jersey City days, like that was the absolute heyday for marketing and content and merchandise. Like the Canucks could do no wrong. They printed money for over a decade, basically. Like absolutely everything from, there's the stickers you would see, like the 1040 from Rogers stickers, or you'd see all the meet and greets down at all the save-ons, or you'd see like there was just endless promotion. There, like if you could chuck a Canucks logo onto something, you could print money, and they had their own.
Think of like every family you went to, every house you went to when I was a kid, everybody had that Canucks calendar. Every single person had that calendar that you got at like PharmaSave or Shoppers Drug Mart. Exactly. Every single family had that.
Yeah. And like they found a way to do it. And obviously the team took a slide after the finals and then the year after that. But the demand has always been there. So now they're reaching outside the box. And this is kind of why I got a little excited. They are going outside the box again, because this is not necessarily a job that exists just in general. So it's a content director. It's not like what Derek Jory was doing for Canucks.com and social media and so on and so forth. This seems like a new position altogether, which is not necessarily something the rest of the NHL that I know of. I know, was it Carolina, I think, had that. Where I think they were the first team to kind of put out an NFT, weren't they?
I'm pretty sure. Well, I mean, the one that you could see publicly pretty easily had to be Carolina. I mean, they were doing so much different stuff on their Twitter, so I don't know if they were the first to have it, but they were the first one that the league probably took notice of for sure.
Mm-hmm. So again, it's not the sleep doctor. It's not the looking at the schedule and figuring out like the rankings like Gillis was talking about. They had a certain number, but it's a small step in that direction. And I do wonder, I mean, the Cityans aren't exactly content machines, but I wonder if that's kind of rubbing off. Like there's that new think space that's going on in the organization. And maybe it's like, hey, you know what? We need to get back to what made us work. Even if it's not on the ice, away from the ice what made this team function to the point where you wanted every little bit of content from this team. And I'm not a big fan of NFTs. I think it's going to be an absolute bust. But for now, I think they're going to ride the hot wave. And the Canucks have been pretty smart about that. They've been one of those teams that when they do something like this, they usually have success. So I don't know. Maybe there's more to it.
I kind of like the way that we've seen, over the past kind of month or so, with the coaches being signed, with Ian Clark getting a long-term deal, with everyone kind of being brought in, with the Sedins being added. The Sedins don't come for free. It seems like, we've heard about that, the taps are now open, it feels like, because of the Ian Clark deal, because of Travis Green deal. But let's not forget, the Sedins are coming for a pretty penny too. They're not coming in for, $55,000 to come in and be assistants to the general manager. They're probably getting paid pretty well. And I think that the Canucks want to reinvest in this fan base. It's a good thing. And this is one of the times where, as Canucks podcasters, I think we need to tip our hat to Francesco Aquilini a little bit for wanting to, invest a little bit of money back into this fan base that's so invested into the team. I mean, it's something that an owner should probably do. And honestly, I think we do have to give props to it if this is going to be the right direction, if they do things the right way and don't cheap out on the AHL team. Because now the AHL team is just as much of, connected to the Vancouver community now, not as the Canucks, but to a smaller degree, having them move from Utica. That's a huge deal for everyone in the Fraser Valley and Abbotsford that's going to be able to get to watch these guys now. So I hope that they don't cheap out on the AHL team too, because it seems like they're starting to put some money into the NHL team that we didn't see last year at all.
I can't imagine that they are going to cheap out, considering they just bought a franchise. like when you think about it, they bought a franchise.
Well, you might be surprised. They want to name them the Canucks potentially, so we'll see.
You know what? At the same time, I mean, we make such a big deal about the perfect name and the perfect jersey and whatever. At the end of the day, I made this joke a long time ago. They could have a purple dinosaur on the jersey and it could be green and pink and blue. If the player inside of that jersey was electrifying, we probably wouldn't care. We'd probably end up still buying that guy's jersey, the t-shirt, because we're a sucker for this team. I know I am. And if it works out, like if you see Podkolzin go down, maybe he starts the season in the AHL and he's wearing the stupid purple dinosaur jersey. If he goes off, 8 goals in 3 games, his stuff's going to sell. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, no matter what they do, they're going to sell DiPietro jerseys. I mean, that's going to be the one that sells the most out there for sure.
Exactly.
And don't even talk about Podkolzin in the AHL. What are you doing here, Ryan? I was on here last time I was on here. I'm wearing the chain. I'm wearing the Podkolzin jersey. That's true. Come on here. You disrespect my boy in the first 20 minutes.
No, I'm not disrespecting. I was making. I don't have my gold chain. I left it upstairs. I apologize.
So hypothetical disrespect is what I'll call that.
You know what? He's going to be just fine in the NHL. I was just using that as an example. We can name anyone else. You can pick anyone else for me. I apologize. I angered you. This was not my intent. I'm sorry. Nate Schmidt has not officially asked for a trade, but all signs point to that he would like a change of scenery, which is unfortunate. I've been listening to your guys' show, and he came at the worst possible time for a guy like him to come in, because he's outgoing, and I think he does bring a lot to this team. And I kind of hope that maybe he doesn't get traded right away, and that he actually gets to experience what the Canucks kind of actually are. Now, that's going to take a little bit more fixing than just keeping Nate Schmidt. There's going to have to be a few more moves. But it just feels like if we can get past maybe the poor dating period that kind of happened and get into, past that first fight, and then, how a relationship goes, right? You have that one fight and you get past it. And now things actually start looking good. Like, this team isn't great. There's no secrets there, but there is some promise to this team. There is some hope. There's some great guys that have finally kind of fast-tracked themselves through the prospect pool, which also means there isn't going to be much of a prospect pool. But the Canucks team itself is finally starting to look like something that we're happy to talk about. And if Nate Schmidt maybe is a part of that, I'm all for it. At the same time, if it does mean that he'd like a change of scenery to move to who knows where, then if we can get a good return on it, I'm also for that, which also means that maybe the Canucks can, lock up a few extra players, whether it's free agency or maybe there's a bigger trade involved. I was kind of thinking, I looked at some of the free agents that are going to be available, and another Vegas player popped up, Thomas Nosek. I think could be a third line center for him. He's got a pretty decent Corsi. His expected goals for, they're basically, any of his fancy stats are mid 50s. So he's not going to be a liability right away. He's going to produce something. And that puts me to another point, and I'll let you get back to Schmidt in a second, and make sure that JT Miller does not see a second of third line time. I can't, I don't think I can stomach that, but we'll talk about that in a second. Go back to the Nate Schmidt thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think the big trouble is, day one after the Canucks finished their season, we heard about Nate Schmidt, we heard about JT Miller. That was something that was talked about a lot in the media group chats and everything. Was Nate Schmidt was the one that was kind of popping off a lot. Nobody really wanted to report it. Then I heard Friedman kind of talking about it on 31 Thoughts, and he was saying that he was he's this close to reporting it the day after the season ended, but he couldn't confirm because that he never went to his meeting, his end of the season meeting. And we talked about it on the show. Quads brought it up that he's pretty damn sure that Nate Schmidt never had that exit meeting at the end of the season, which is cause for concern, I think, to a certain degree. And then when the Miller rumors started to kind of blow up, like, think about it, the Miller rumors were out there before the Schmidt rumors were out, right? Like, the Miller rumors were out very quickly after there was rumblings of the Schmidt rumors, but then Elliot Friedman comes on, Saturday Night Hockey, whatever it was a playoff series, and he comes out and says that, he's confirmed, he talked to JT Miller, and JT Miller doesn't want out. We haven't gotten that moment for Nate Schmidt, right? So that's why this is just lingering on. I don't think that they're actively trying to trade him, but I think that they're actively thinking about it, right? I think that's the point we're at right now, and unfortunately, there's nothing else to really talk about in the Canucks world. I think this is blown out a little bit of proportion with the Nate Schmidt deal.
It's Nate Schmidt. It's Nate Schmidt.
Yeah, I don't think Nate Schmidt's going to get traded. I'm not confident, like 100% confident, but I would be like 90% sure that Schmidt doesn't get traded. I don't think Jim Benning would make that trade after he thinks that he got an absolute steal last year for Nate Schmidt. I don't think that looks good on the general manager unless he gets another good deal. Or the interesting thing for me with Nate Schmidt would be if they're able to move him in a similar way to what Vegas did, where you move Nate Schmidt to sign Dougie Hamilton, you move Nate Schmidt to bring in, mention other right shot defensemen here. Like, if that's an upgrade to him, the interesting one for me would be Dougie Hamilton, like the free agent Dougie Hamilton. That seems like he's way out of the Canucks price range right now. What if the Canucks move Schmidt for a third in the exact same way Las Vegas did to get Pietrangelo? It's an interesting concept for sure. Yeah,
and I mean, Vancouver's got an amazing museum. They've got a great art gallery. So, I mean, culturally, there isn't it. Like, we got the seawall. We got Stanley Park. Come on, Dougie. You want to come here?
He would love it. He would love it. As long as the weed smell doesn't put him off, he'll be fine.
Yeah. Well,
I get a feeling that he might not hate it. He's a big museum guy. I've seen a lot of people in museums. They don't have their eyes very wide open.
Yeah, there's getting to and they're always hungry for some reason too.
Yeah, they got good snacks in museums. You should see how empty those vending machines always are.
No kidding. Like, what? We got to reload this again. Like, nothing is making sense right now. You did kind of mention three-letter name that we will not mention. As far as the defenseman, I don't think they should be going after that. It's 2 years in a row. I don't care if he's available. I don't care if there's some retention going on there. It's like, and I hated the idea, and then I kind of liked it for a second, but it's like the Trampkin thing. It's like, at some point, like, you have to walk away from some stuff and you have to start making your own path. And it's taken 7 years and hopefully not 9 to figure that out. But like, this has to be Jim Benning's team at some point. Like, he has to think, okay, I can't just keep circling the wagons to, kind of damaged goods, if you will. And there's too much other drama. There's enough drama in Vancouver already. There's enough going on to last everybody. We don't need to add more. We don't need to add another situation. Let's work with what we've got. I mean, from Jake Virtanen to the Louis Eriksson to obviously Schmidt is now recent. We don't know what's going to happen with Edler. We've got a lot going on. Like, all around this organization, there's plenty of storylines. We don't need to add new ones that just distract from the ultimate goal, which obviously is a Stanley Cup. But this team needs to get back to prominency, and they're not there yet. So leave the other stuff alone. As Drancer has been saying, like, throw a bunch of darts at those $1 million guys, or as close to possible 900K. Like, find some guys that can actually make a difference. Maybe not for a full season, but enough guys that you throw enough darts and you hit on something. There's got to be a way. We don't have to go after the big fish, if you will.
Right. I mean, with the AHL team, how many players do they have signed right now? I think I looked at it the other day. It's something like 9 players to set up with the AHL team right now. There's a lot of room to take shots on guys at $900,000 to $1 million that literally you bury in the AHL if it doesn't work. And then you don't see any of that cap hit your cap if they're under $1 million. None of that's touching the cap if they're in the AHL. So you're in a good spot to really fill out and not only take like 5 or 6 swings. Like, talk about, like, you can bring in like 10 guys that are like AHL tweeners, NHL tweeners, and you can hope that one of them hits. One of those 10 guys hits. And
you can go on a hunch because they're down the street. You can go, you know what? I'm feeling so and so today. They're down the number 1. We can have them in the lineup tonight. Don't have to pay for flights. Get them an Uber or whatever, and you've got it done. And if you're wrong, you send him home. He can go home at the same time everybody else does.
That's exactly what Ryan Johnson told me when I interviewed him earlier this week. The general manager of the Abbotsford AHL team, which I'm getting so tired. Can you just give us a damn name already? I'm so tired of writing all my articles, Abbotsford AHL team, talking about the Abbotsford AHL team. Like, I'm just going to start calling them the Comets again here pretty damn soon. But what he said was, like, I asked him, like, if it's, how big of a difference is it going to be for the roster movements that we're going to see these guys from the AHL? When Jonah Gadjevich scores 10 goals in 9 games, get him in the lineup the next night, right? Like, after he scores that 10th goal in his 9th game, he's playing for Vancouver in 2 nights. Get him in the shot. Like, that's what I was told. That's what the general manager of the AHL team told me. I want to see it, though, right? Like, I want to see it actually be done. When Cole's on a tear, whoever's down there, if they're on a tear, give them a shot. If Mikey DiPietro is unreal in the AHL, what do you do with Braden Holtby? Like, he's not going to be on this team in the future. If you're out of the playoffs and you got a Mikey DiPietro who's having a heck of a season, after the trade deadline, you get DiPietro in. You got to see what he can do and get him to that level. There's a lot of things that's going to really help from having this AHL team now in Abbotsford. And one of them's having me 15 minutes down the road being able to drive to the rink all the time. So that's going to be fun.
Oh, I'm very jealous because I was down there when Calgary had their farm team, and it sucked because there was no want for me to be there. Even when Chicago came through, I just couldn't get up for going to see an Abbotsford Heat game because it was Calgary. I just couldn't feel it. If I was there when the Canucks farm team was there, it's a totally different feeling. I can justify going down the street for that and going to watch a game because I know within the next year or less, or maybe a bit more depending on the player, I'm going to see that guy in the big jersey. I'm going to see that guy at Rogers Arena. And like, there's just something about that. And I know that it sounds like, well, you should support them no matter what. Well, yeah, but just because there's a team there doesn't mean you have to support them. There's plenty of people that would rather than spend their money going to, the Langley Rivermen or now the Vancouver Giants. But, they know they can spend that same money because it's a little bit closer and they don't have to be tied into this AHL team. Well, now that the Canucks are there and the Giants, and the farm team, I apologize, you can spread that money 3 ways. The thing is, you can afford to. You can afford to go see a Giants game. You can afford to go see an Abbotsford game in the same weekend, and you're getting 2 versions of that content. If there's a Canucks draft pick playing for the Giants or Victor Person comes in from Kamloops, you can go watch him on Friday, and you can be, maybe towards the end of the season, let's say their season ends early, you can potentially see him in the lineup for Abbotsford that same weekend. For you, you're chomping your bits, obviously.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you think about it just for families and for the price point, you can go to a Giants game and whatever the AHL team name is. Like I said, getting pretty pissed off calling them that all the time. But you can go to both those games for probably a lot cheaper than it would be to go to Vancouver, go get parking. Like, for me, growing up on the island, going to a Canucks game included a hotel, included a ferry. Yeah. It was expensive as hell to do. For a guy like you up in Kelowna. That's what I was thinking. Like, Kelowna, you got a road trip in. Is it better to go watch the AHL team play back-to-backs and then watch the Giants play on Sunday? Probably cheaper than what you're doing to do the Vancouver Canucks. Maybe stay with some friends or family in the Fraser Valley, stay out of Vancouver. Like, it's going to be a massive thing when we get this AHL team. Like, I don't think people really understand how big of a deal it's going to be. Like, that arena is going to sell out like crazy. Look at what they did in Utica. Like, Utica was so invested in that team. That was like, they had like no connection to the Vancouver Canucks, but they loved that team. I have a feeling that what we have here as a hockey, as a group of hockey fans in Abbotsford and the Fraser Valley and the surrounding areas, everyone that's going to go visit, I think that's stronger than Utica. Like, I've never been to Utica, but I just know what BC's like for hockey. I know that we have the BCHL, the WHL. I think that it's going to be like a sold-out arena every single night in the Abbotsford Center. And I don't think they're going to be a bad team either. And they're going to have stars. Like, people are going to love Mikey DiPietro. People are going to love Carson Folk, Will Lockwood, Jet Wu. Like, I can't wait to see that first goal at the Abbotsford Center from Jet Wu when the crowd is just wooing their asses off. Like, man, that's going to be a lot of fun.
And now you get the Ric Flair little video on the big screen up. Like, it's a what's the word? It's the pre-installed fan base. You've now brought a team home, essentially. Like, it's like, I'm not going to compare it to the Jets, but in a way, it's like the Jets. You brought home a team that we thought we should have had a long time ago that should have never left, essentially.
And now, what's actually really similar? If I can just tell you out there, the Manitoba Moose becoming the Jets minor league team. I wonder how much similar thing was set up for them. And I know they play in the same arena, but it's not that big of a difference. But I wonder how much it boosted the Manitoba Moose ticket sales when it switched from the Vancouver Canucks to the Winnipeg Jets. Like, it had to boost it a ton.
There's a Jets Nation Jets Nation article, I'm sure, that needs to be written about that. Or maybe there was. I just have to look.
There probably was.
Yeah, there probably is. We're just so ignorant on this side of the.
Well, side. I mean, Jets Nation it's no Canucks Army. I'll tell you that.
It's not. It doesn't have the same clout as the alum. So I mean, I've been out for a bit. It's been weird. I'm not gonna lie. Just not quite freelancing. I haven't really blogged much since I left. I've got some stuff I can do on Blendell here, and I'm sure I'll get back into it once the season starts, because now I can just run my mouth and I get to be my own editor, which is a good and a bad thing all at the same time. So
it's most definitely. I don't know how we're gonna replace you, because I think Dave's asked around a little bit, who wants to write the game days, and it's like, what? Like in the message groups when you ask a question and nobody answers it. That's been like that a couple times.
I knew, and I'm not gonna say it. I thought I was, and I knew what I brought when I started, and my sense of humor definitely is different than a lot of other people's, as is yours, as is, you look at Wyatt as well. We all everyone brings something to this whole Smealosphere, right? And what I don't think enough people realize is it's tough to, especially when things have been the way they have been for the last 8-9 years. This Canucks team is sometimes very, very tough to write about when it's not an actual article. When you're writing about a preview of a game when they haven't won in 5 games and nothing's changed. There's no new storyline. The stats haven't really changed for the better or the worse. They're just either still bad or still kind of good. And you're digging for that nugget of gold. And there isn't one, clearly. But you're now creating a storyline. And you might hit hot sometimes. But overall, for 82 games plus playoffs, last year was great. It's not easy. So whoever's doing that in the future by committee, it's one of those. I always felt bad because I knew there'd be a day when it would come that I would have to walk away from it. My family's starting to grow a little bit more and just want a bit more personal time, and the podcast is doing pretty well, so I want to dedicate more time to that. But it's a lot of work to, even as minuscule of an article as that is, and because I'm sure you've written the post games as well. It's a little bit easier to do a post game because you have something to talk about. When you have no idea what to... Well,
most of the time. We had a couple games here and there where there wasn't anything.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I've written a few of those and no one scored and they lost. They lost in a shootout 1-0. And it wasn't that exciting, and I turned off the game in the second period. It's a tough position, and I think for everybody that is writing them from whatever site, I mean, mad props to you, because it is brutal. That being said, there isn't a better place to write those things in Canucks Army, because there's content. When there's content, it flows from the heavens. It's there's a lot of drama on this team, and thankfully you can ride out a Louis Eriksson, content piece for a good 2 weeks if you have to. You can run out and you can make that enjoyable. But it's too bad, but I'm sure somebody will take the reins. So it'll be.
I was gonna say, you rode the Louis train for 2 years. It felt like, Ryan, and you're pregame. So,
like, well, I have nothing else to talk about. Yeah, maybe he'll score today, or the Edler goal. I had that for like the last half of the season. Tonight, Edler will score, and it never happened. So that was kind of brutal. Let's get into what did I have here? I was going to bring up the whole Duncan Keith thing. Actually, I'm going to. So there is the rumor about Duncan Keith coming to the Pacific Northwest. Whether I saw Oilers Nation was talking about that he's the missing piece for the Oilers. He is the missing piece for you guys. Absolutely, you should lock him in. Make sure that is the first deal that you do, because we don't want him. But if you had to pick, what's worse? What situation would be worse? Duncan Keith, and you know what I'm going to say here, Mark Messier.
I mean, it's anybody but Messier, right? Like anybody but Messier, I think. But like just to see that, like I thought it was funny when the rumor was even out there, and I hope that rumor lasted like 20 minutes on Canucks Twitter because everyone shut it down. But like, you hire the Sedins 1 week, you trade for Duncan Keith the next week. Just doesn't make a lot of sense. But I'm with you, man. What an excellent player Duncan Keith is. He would just be the perfect puzzle piece fit for the Edmonton Oilers. Heck, you could probably play him on the wing with Connor McDavid. It's such a versatile player. The cap hit's not that bad. Definitely, Edmonton would get a steal whatever they give up for him. Trade a couple firsts for him.
You know what? I like the way you're thinking. That's the kind of moves that they should be making in Edmonton. It's I think they're missing piece. He is, and maybe a goaltender. I mean, who's really expensive that is washed up? They have Mike Smith already, so that's a problem. But
maybe Bobrovsky makes sense there.
You know what? The thing is, all of a sudden he reinvents himself and he actually does well. That would really suck. Let's just keep him where he is. So I had to bring that up. Faber, we're now in stage 3 of the return to normalcy. Masks are optional now. Life's a little bit more normal. Sports are normal again. I've been playing ball with Ted. It's been phenomenal. We actually had a pretty good game. I pitched this past game. For everybody that doesn't know, I'm an okay pitcher. About 10 years ago, I had a perfect game going into the 5th inning, and then we lost 7-4. So just to give you an idea where I can be and where I can also be. So get this. We are bottom of the 7th. It's tied 9-9. I pitched a pretty decent game, actually. I came in the 2nd. We kind of traded a run here, run there. We both had like a 5-run inning. It's his E-League, so 1 home run. Everything else after is an out. 3rd strike foul. So anyway, I get 1 out. They get a few guys on, get another out. Sacks are drunk. Bases are loaded. 2 out. Dude like yourself comes up to bat. I need 1 out. And I had a kind of a good changeup going, and I know this is underhand, but there's a way to throw the ball where it doesn't spin.
Sure.
It's very tough to hit it far.
You know who else? Which other podcaster has a good changeup? Ryan Schaap also has a good changeup from pitching. Yeah, he's a slow pitcher as well, or underhand pitcher.
If I know he doesn't come to Kelowna too often anymore, but there's an open invite for you, Schaap. So I get in there, dude like yourself walks up, and he had hit one lengthy, not over the fence, but lengthy earlier in the game. And I'm not pitching around, but I'm trying to give him something that he has to swing at that he can pop up. And then we get out of the inning and we try to make something of it. I serve it up. It goes so yard, it's not even funny. It plinkos off the giant pine or fir tree over the fence. It goes dink, dink, dink. Game over. I give up 4, put my arms up. I'm like, well, and I just looked and we kind of laughed at each other. I'm like, I only gave up 1 home run, so that was pretty good. So
all in a day's work.
Yeah, all in a day's work. So I mean, you win some, you lose some. So but like I was saying, we're back into phase 3. We can go back to bars. Things are coming back. But I did see something, and this is probably the truest thing you will ever see. The pandemic is not over until you can go back to Costco and get free samples. That's when we know we're back to normal, folks.
Is America at that point? Like, have you seen if America's at that point yet? I feel like they must be, right?
They might be. We need to reach out on that, because maybe somewhere in the States, like maybe Hawaii or something. I've been to Costco in Hawaii. That's pretty awesome. Get the Dole cups and stuff. It's like Disneyland kind of. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that like the cool part was that They might have at one point, but I feel like the food courts never closed down, right? Like maybe they did when it was really bad.
Yeah.
But, I don't go every single month. We don't need to go that much. But that's the best part about it. And they added that spicy chicken burger on the menu as well. But
really?
a Costco trip isn't a Costco trip without a Polish dog at the end of it.
Absolutely. And disgusting burps. Absolutely.
Oh, well, I've told people this for years, and my girlfriend, all my friends, they can attest to this. My burps after that are 3 times as bad as my farts. Like, not even close. The burps from a Polish sausage are so bad. Like, that's why Rogers Arena smells so bad, because everyone's going in there. They're getting their Polish dogs before they walk in.
Yeah,
and then everyone's just walking around drinking $9 beers and burping on each other with the Polish dogs.
I never thought of it.
Smell.
So go back for a second. They have a spicy chicken sandwich on the menu now. Is this new?
I haven't tried it, but I've seen it. It's definitely on the menu for me next time I get there. Like I mentioned, I don't go there often, but it is pretty new. It's a few months old. But I've seen people try it, and it's like a ciabatta bun. I think that's how you say it. Ciabatta bun with some spicy sauce and a fried chicken, and it's going to be good because like what food menu item at Costco isn't good?
Oh, that's a good point. I can't think of one now. Because family of 4. We're there every 2 weeks, and it's a pretty hefty bill every time. Our membership paid for every year with the executive membership. So when you're going to Costco that much and your tires and everything, like I walk in, membership every year is free because you spend a few bucks there. It's not free. It's just they have an incentive program to stay. But I think I need to try that. And you got a good point. Like there isn't a bad menu item on there. It's Costco. Like there's a reason that you want to buy everything that they have because it's all good.
Absolutely. I don't think that like the best salad I think I might have ever had. Have you had the dill pickle salad from there?
No.
Oh, the dill pickle salad. It's in that little room where you kind of go off to get certain vegetables in the salad bag.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? I have. I take that back. I have had that because we usually get the Baja one for tacos. I have had the dill pickle. And that's good too.
Right beside it.
I've had
the
both.
Baja one's good. The dill pickle one I love. Like I love dill pickle anyways. It's one of my favorite chips. But having it in a salad, that was a game changer. You know what I had tonight, and this was kind of cool. Like I get a lot of bagged salads because I'm not creative enough to make my own salads, right? So I get a lot of these bagged ones. Tonight I had a watermelon vinaigrette salad, and the bag was so cute. It was all orange and it had seeds all up and down the bag, and I was like, I gotta try this thing. So we tried it, and it was fine. It wasn't great, to be honest, but the bag was great.
So I got a question for you. You have this vinaigrette on there. Please tell me there was no mustard.
No mustard. No mustard. I didn't even think about that. There's still a little bit left in the bowl. Maybe I'll throw a little mustard on it and see how that tastes.
Late night content piece. There we go. See, I'm the bringer of worlds. Now, this is kind of interesting because this was a last minute thing that having you on here. You had mentioned the accelerator at Krause Farms, which I've never been to. Is that kind of like the Gravitron kind of thing, or?
I have no idea. I just saw Bowman tweeting about that, and I just like quickly Google searched their website and started like
this is something they have
names of the rides and putting them out there. I was actually talking about Krause Berry Farms. That's my spot. Right. Like Krause Berry Farms is incredible. I love all the berries out there. Pretty much everything. Well, if I'm being honest, I've had a couple of things that are kind of crap from there. If I'm being 100% honest, but the berries are damn good.
I doubt they're following us, so it's okay. It's fine. And if they are, we're very sorry. We're very sorry.
I buy from them a lot. It just
exactly.
Like if you make a bad custard, you've pissed off a customer. And the custard that I had there wasn't great.
And so they're batting 9 for 10. That's still pretty good.
They got the same batting average as I do in slow pitch.
Yeah, you're still MVP numbers, right? So absolutely. I guess my question from that, I don't know how many amusement parks and theme parks you've been to. What is your favorite theme park ride? I don't care where it's from, Disneyland, Universal, Playland, wherever. What is your favorite amusement park ride?
So I'm not going to say that it's my favorite today, but when I was 5 years old, I went down to Disneyland with my parents and my little brother, and there's this ride. They might not even have it anymore. I hope they do, but it's a Dumbo ride, like Dumbo the elephant.
They're not getting rid of that
one. It just went up and down, and I remember going on that ride 20 times that day. Like I absolutely loved it. Dumbo was one of my favorite characters growing up. Actually, you know what?
Have you seen the new Dumbo? Oh wow! Look at that
Canucks combo shirt.
branding. Love it. Have you seen the new one?
That's Lou. I haven't seen the new one. No, I don't want to
so good.
It's good. Okay, because I was worried it would
ruin
it for me.
We own it. My kids, we saw it in the theater, and I thought it was phenomenal. And we still buy DVDs because we go on a road trip up to PG every year, and well, it's like 10 to 12 hours, so you need to keep the kids entertained. And it's a great movie. I think I've seen it like 5 times since it's come out.
Really? Okay. I didn't want to watch it because I was like, I loved the TV show growing up. I loved a couple of movies that I remember, and I didn't want it to be like, it ruins it now that you're an adult and it's not as good. But to hear that it's good, I will watch it now.
And this is coming from a guy like I like Disney, and I will say if they've screwed up a movie, I found though like they haven't. I mean, I didn't really like the new Aladdin. I suppose it was all right, but for Dumbo, I thought they knocked Dumbo out of the park. Like it was very well made. It didn't feel cheap. Like it didn't feel like they just, kind of Hollywoodized it and just, put something out there for the sake of putting something out there. I thought it was really well done. So by all means, there's my my movie recommendation of the week. Dumbo, folks, on Disney Plus, most likely. So
yeah, if it's not on Disney Plus, something's wrong there. So
they'll find something. For me, and I guess I'm going to Disneyland as well. Pirates of the Caribbean. My wife and we went there. I think the last time we went was 2012, I think, right before we moved back to Kelowna. And so we had an 18-month-old at the time, our oldest, now is 10. And so we went one more time. We didn't know we were moving back yet, so we just went on a trip. And we went there, and we must have ridden Pirates of the Caribbean like 20 times in the day. And then I remember we went out for dinner and then came back. And so we were riding them to like midnight. Well, it got stuck right at the bottom of the big hill right before you're done. So we sat at the top. We sat at the top for like a half hour at like 10 o'clock. And so you heard that the loop of the track as you're going through that part of the ride. We must have heard that I could probably like 50 times. But I wasn't bummed out. Like we're sitting there like, all right, well, we're not going anywhere. It's kind of nice. So they closed down the ride, said it was going to be closed for the evening. Then they have the fireworks, right? Every night fireworks at Disneyland. Then they reopened it. And I'm like, well, we've seen the fireworks. They're not anything different. And I like fireworks, but I mean, they're fireworks. It's Disneyland. I've seen them. They're amazing. Don't get me wrong. But I don't need to see them every freaking night. So who wasn't in line at Pirates of the Caribbean? Everybody. So back we go. Rode it another 5 or 6 times before I think we hit up Indiana Jones. That's probably a very close second for me.
Oh, and I do remember that one too. Yeah,
that one's great. But nobody's on them. I'm thinking like these are 2 of the hardest rides to get on. Go, 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 go. It was perfect. It was perfect.
When that same trip that I went, I can't remember. It might not be Disneyland, but the Jurassic Park ride. Have you ever been on that one?
Yeah, at Universal.
It might be Universal, yeah. So that one, my dad sneaks me into it because I was too small at the time. Like I was 5, right? So I was a huge 5-year-old, so I probably like just about made the cut, but I went on my toes got in there. And I got into the ride, and right at the part, I think it must be how it finishes, because it takes the picture of you. The T-Rex head comes down from over top to look at you, and you drop. And I got scared, and then we go down, and like the picture is my head in the chair in front of me. Like the picture that we have is my dad, like my mom, they're all excited, and then me, my face is just like smashed in. I'm the smallest guy on this ride by a mile. So I get, and then you get down and you float down, and I'm just like bleeding and crying, and we get off, and then they're like, well, we probably shouldn't have let that 5-year-old kid like go on this ride, I guess, in the end. So
a few people
we still have the picture. We still have the picture to this day. It's like the Jurassic Park, the flip open one, and like my face just so deep into the chair in front of me that it's a hilarious picture.
I know exactly. I remember I warmed myself up to like Splash Mountain, and I was never really good at roller coasters, so it took some time for me to get on Soarin' California and all that. But eventually I warmed myself up. Yeah, so eventually I warmed myself up, and it was a lot of fun. And then we did Jurassic Park, and I knew it was coming, but I had never been on it before. So the first time, and you're doing like the ride itself is it's all right. Like it's nothing to write home about until the very end. And I knew, because I was an adult, I think I was like 27 or 28. So I'm sitting there, and I know, I'm like, okay, the bad part's coming, and I know what's going to happen, but I don't know where. And I'm like, I think this is it. And then you're just sitting there, and I'm like, just do it. Just drop us freaking now. Like, just do it. I'm ready. And then I'm waiting, and now you're like, okay, when's it gonna happen now? And so all of a sudden, and then it comes out of nowhere, and then you drop in your 90 degrees for like 5 seconds, which is not fun. And
No.
then once you realize everything's okay, because you free fall for like a couple seconds. Once you realize everything's okay, it's a blast. But for like that split couple seconds, not fun. Not fun at all. Thankfully, I didn't smack my head on anything, but my wife stopped beside because she doesn't do heights like that. So I got to enjoy it with strangers.
Yeah, it was a heck of a ride, but like it traumatized me. Like that ride traumatized me for some reason. That the ride, and then recently after we came back, the movie Jumanji came out.
Yeah.
And in like no relation to the Jurassic Park movie, but just the way that like the ride that I remember from Jurassic Park, and the way that then the cover of Jumanji DVD, which we had, or maybe VHS back then,
yeah,
and the cover of that looked exactly like the picture on the ride or something. I still to this day, I've never seen Jumanji, and I've always thought it was a horror movie. Like to this day, I've never seen it, and just because I was so afraid of that Jurassic Park ride, I just thought Jumanji was scary. So that's something that just happened to me as a 5-year-old, and yeah, so it's to this day I still haven't seen it or the new ones or anything. So I think I've got to watch it because I've heard good things about Jumanji. Like the original movie was good,
and the new one's pretty good too, or both the new ones, I guess. So face your demons, right. Chris. Face your demons, buddy.
Yeah, I mean I got some hard demons to slay, and that's the first one's the movie Jumanji.
It's an interesting list. Like, so big deal like this, afraid of Jumanji. There's no way. Trust me, it's true. One more thing. We've obviously everybody doing a Canucks podcast is probably just absolutely scratching for stuff to talk about. We are going to do our final mock draft next week because Ted isn't here this week. I did send him the list, but I think he's doing a late night golf or something, so that's okay with his family. So I did have one more thing, and I'm actually really excited. And I actually have, I think, the right guy. And then I have my secret or my big announcement that everybody was waiting to hear about. It's not going to be as exciting as I let on, but that's what we call clickbait. Joey Chestnut on the 4th of July broke his world record again for hot dogs. My question to you, and I'm actually thankful that you were able to come because these last two questions have been super fitting. If there was a food that you're not necessarily breaking the world record, but you know that you could absolutely dominate someone else, anyone else, you could challenge to eating, and you would absolutely like deny them victory, what food would it be?
Man, do you have one so I can think on this? I need to think. I have one sort of in mind, but I think I can think of one better.
Like I originally, I always thought I could do wings. Like I could, back in the day, I could probably crush 50. And I was a bit of a smaller frame than some, so I know guys can go in and crush like 60, 70, 80. There was a guy that did pierogies. He ate, I think he ate 80 in a sitting at Cecil's, which was a feat to behold. I think for me, I think if on a good day where my stomach allows me to do it, I want to say tacos, but I do really wonder, like my stomach is finally like we finally, conditioned ourselves to kind of eat smart in the last 6 years. So I've gone from being an absolute glutton for food to actually conditioning myself to know like, hey, you're full now. So I think if I could in my prime, I would say I could probably crush tacos and beat somebody. I think that would be my thing. Eddie Lack would be proud.
He would, yeah. I think he would have been a good guest to fill in for this one, and you could have would have been going for another 45 minutes here on the podcast. I set the record at Kelsey's. He used to have all you can eat. Do you have Kelsey's up in Kelowna, like the restaurant?
Not anymore. No, they got rid of it.
I think they went out of business, but they used to have all you can eat wings. And you a How I Met Your Mother fan at all? Have you seen How I Met Your Mother?
Fan's the wrong word, but I've seen enough. Yeah.
So people will understand the eating a sandwich thing that I'm talking about. So we would eat a plate of wings. We would go out, eat a sandwich, come back in, and eat more wings. And I got 72 down that day, which I owned the record for about all of 5 minutes. And then basically the biggest kid in my high school at the time, bigger than me, and I was a huge kid in high school, the only kid that was bigger than me ends up eating 73 within like 5 minutes of me being there. Like he just eats 2 more, beats me. And that was probably the best one I ever did. But today, I think it would be McDoubles. I
Really?
think McDoubles would be the one that I could do right now. Like I can normally get down like 3 or 4 McDoubles, eat like very easily. 3 or 4 McDoubles very easily, like just for a
Quick,
snack. Like if
quick
I'm
succession. Yeah, yeah.
oh yeah, like 3 bites on a McDouble is probably what I can do. Like I take a big bite, another bite, and then so basically you take one bite, you bite the other half, and then you throw the last one in. You're done a McDouble. If I was trying to like eat McDoubles like really strong, I could probably eat more McDoubles than hot dogs in a sitting. Like I think I could do 10 to 12 McDoubles if I was in a 10-minute race of trying to eat as much as possible. I think I could do 10 to 12 in 10 minutes.
So power, yeah. I was wondering, I was kind of thinking like if there wasn't a time limit just in a sitting, so you're not rushing yourself and you can actually enjoy them, but you just continue. I was also thinking prawns. I think I could do prawns.
Oh, that's a good one.
Because I remember, so this would have been, what was it? A couple of weeks before I got married back in 2006. So my family had my wife Christine, her folks over for like a kind of get together dinner. I think it was maybe like a week or a few nights. I can't remember. She probably will. Just as like a kind of get together dinner of both families. And I mean, we'd hung out, but it's the official like kind of get together of families for dinner. So my mom made this massive platter of chili lime prawns.
Oh, that's good. That's a good flavor too.
Oh man. So the problem was like it was like the turkey platter, but it was like a plastic one, so you could kind of like a dish, but the size you'd put on a turkey plate, basically. Now, there would have had to have been, I don't know, 100, 150 of these things in there. My father-in-law and I ate so many of these things, and we still were having like steak or something for dinner. I had so like I just wasn't thinking at the time because they're like snack food. Really,
right?
Like there's substance there, but it's kind of like a snack food. You can pop a few, you're good to go. You got some cocktail sauce, you're good. Well,
I think the problem would be that you can always have one more. Like you can convince yourself that you can always have one more.
So I'm pretty sure I must have crushed like 50 of these things. Well, dinner didn't exist for me. Like I barely made dinner happen. And I mean, we're from a German family. My mom loves to cook. Makes like a big spread, like Caesar salad. I think we had steak. These for like an appy while everyone's talking. Yeah, hard fail on that one. I learned my lesson. So the next time we did it, it lasted a lot longer, and I actually had dinner. So I think prawns would be like my backup if I was going for something achievable. Tacos. I don't know how many I could do, but I think I could just eat a lot of tacos.
Yeah, I think next time in Kelowna, we'll see who can do more pierogies. We'll see if see how Ted can hold up as well.
You know what the problem is? Like we can do that there. It's going to cost us a few bucks because when the pierogi record was set or broken there, that's when it was affordable. Like you could go during high school. I can barely afford it as a father of a family of 4. So it's we may have to beg you for some of that Patreon money to make it happen because I don't know if I can quite afford it even on the salary that I've got, but. It's something that we may have to try out, and I'm willing to go for it. Maybe a group eat we could just do, just like a platter of pierogies, if you will, a platter pierogi, like a platypus, but not quite. So
yeah, I'd like to get up to Kelowna. I think the next time I'm going to get up there might be to watch a Victor Persson against the Rockets team. You know, watch the Blazers come play the Rockets because that's the big rivalry in Kelowna, right? Like that's one of the big ones.
Phenomenal. Yeah, it's Kelowna Kamloops, like back and forth. It's a city thing that's been going on for decades, but it's a respected one. Like we joke about it, but I mean, I love going to Kamloops to watch a Rockets game. It's just fun being in their barn. They've got a great rink, same as here. Like it's fun because both fan bases are so into it, and yet it's close enough. Like I went for that 1-game playoff a couple years ago. We left work, I think like 20 minutes early, drove down to Kamloops with my dad for that 1-game playoff, which the Rockets lost. But to go down there for 1 game and then be home so you can go to work the next day, like it's fun. Like there's that fun factor to it, the novelty. And at the same time, there's been some phenomenal games between those two teams, whether it's been Kamloops that's been the absolute, horse of the division, or when Kelowna was running roughshod over the division for years. It's always been one of them. And even when both teams have kind of sucked, it's been a good game. So yeah, you're going to want to come for that for sure. So Faber, we've had you for an hour, and you've been gracious to donate your time. And any final words? I mean, everybody knows where you're from, but the floor is yours for a couple seconds. Promote anything you'd like to promote. Any big news coming up? Is there any tidbits that you want to drop here before you even drop on your own podcast?
Yeah, sure. First of all, I want to apologize for the first 15 minutes of being audio just like a few seconds off. I hope it turns out okay. Second of all, I think, Stefan Roger at Canucks Army and I have launched like a new series that we're kind of doing together. I used to hate Stefan, one of the worst guys on the planet, up until a month ago. But turns out he's actually a decent guy. We're working together now on like a back to in the future is what it's called. So he'll look back on a situation and then I'll look into the future on a situation. Ooh. Yeah, excellent name. Stefan came up with it. So we're working together on that. So we got some cool things, and I took 2 weeks off, but we're back to that now. So we're going to do that every Friday and Saturday on Canucks Army, and we got another one coming up, I guess, tomorrow, or whenever you're listening to this, it's probably out already. So Stefan's going to look back at the cap. I'm going to look forward at some things that the cap will be in the positive. And that's kind of the thing that we're going to be doing for the next little bit here every Friday and Saturday on Canucks Army. And as for Canucks Convo, I think we're going to have another Canucks prospect, kind of everybody's favorite Canucks prospect. I might as well say it. It's Aidan McDonough. Everybody loves him. He's came on our show a bunch of times. Awesome dude to talk to. He's just named the assistant captain of Northeastern, one of the highest rising prospects for the Canucks, I'd have to say. So he'll be on the show on Saturday as well. So that'll be a lot of fun.
Where's he at in his college as far as his tenure over there? What has he got left?
So he's going into his junior season right now, and they've named him assistant captain. So and actually I have an article dropping tomorrow about this. It's a hot take of mine, but I think he signs and plays for the Canucks next year.
No
I
kidding.
think Aidan McDonough signs this season and will play for the Canucks and be on the second power play unit this season.
Wow, double hot take. Bring it, man. You bring it. I mean, it's suns out, guns out, clearly. So you're clearly shooting for the stars.
Yeah, am I gonna say? Am I bigger than Ted? Am I bigger than Ted on the counter? This is how Ted looks like on the videos half the time.
See, you guys have a different build. Like you're pretty broad. I've said this before. Like in all, in all as kind as I can be. You're a very big, broad dude. Like absolute teddy bear. I met you in person, obviously. Ted is he's like a mini Rock, basically. Like it's the Rock, but a guy basically. And
Ted's got the legs. I'll give him. Ted doesn't get like that. That's what you can tell about him.
So one quick story, and then we'll go here. So Monday. He had just done plates that day, and so I was calling him plates all game. I'm like, come on, plates, knock one over the plate. Anyway, he hits an absolute bomb solo shot, and I said, I'm like, you wasted it. Like that's one run. You need people on base for it. But absolutely, like when the dude gets a hold of one, like I'm sure the same as you. Like it's a no doubter. Like you always know when it comes off as bad. I just watch, and I was umping too for that inning. I just watched. I'm like, yeah, it's gone. And I'm chirping. I'm like, bro, that's one run. Like the rest of us needed to be on base first. So it's you want the big guys to make sure that they're cleaning up, So this has been an absolute blast. Obviously, follow Chris on Canucks Conversation. That's the little show that he built. It's doing pretty well. You may have heard of it. There's been some pretty decent guests. Got some pretty heavy clout. He's obviously in Canucks Army. Make sure to check out our Twitter, our Instagram. We have now partnered, as I said, with Manta Sleep. These things are great. I promise you, you get a pair. You will not regret it. I let my kids borrow it each for like a day. They keep trying to steal it out of my room. It's not going to happen. I don't feel like buying their own yet, but they are great. We've also got our big contest happening. I got to figure out a way to give all this stuff. I think I might just give away multiple prize packs instead of one big thing because I don't know. Or maybe I just give it all away to one person and someone gets a smorgasbord of awesome. I just really can't decide. But a lot of people winning feels a lot better. So like I said, we've got the hats. We've got the Travis Matthews stuff from Beyond the Green. We got our summer skates, which I'm super jacked that we're going to be putting on. I think there's even another secret going on with that, which you guys will find out very shortly. The Manta Sleep, like I said, Beyond the Green. We are part of the Dean Blundell Network. Dean has been a gracious host. We just finished our Playoff Pricks playoff show last night after. That was a lot of fun. We had Slash's drummer, Brent Fitz, on their back when the Jets were still in. That was a lot of fun. That's about it. Thanks for coming by. Thanks for coming by, Chris Faber. We do appreciate that. This is the PP1 podcast, episode 98. We're getting close, people. But until then, peace out.